going? Because I know Wendy doesn't only have so much time for lunch, and it sounds like you might be a little behind, Carlos. So welcome, you guys. I'm going to share with you a little piece that I was listening to this morning before I started to teach class from an astrologer called Molly McCord. She's amazing. She's an intuitive astrologer. And lately, everything that she's been saying, I resonate with so much. So I thought I would start off today's practice just giving you a little tidbit of information regarding what's happening in the skies and how it's affecting us here on Earth. So we've been through a couple eclipses, and we went through the full moon last week, and then we had the 11/11 portal. So moving into this week from the 16th to the 23rd, she was kind of giving an astrological forecast on the energies and what to expect. So I'll share it with you now. This week's energy is looking at all the planetary cycles and patterns and what's happening outside of us that is influencing us inside. We are moving out of Scorpio energy into Sagittarius. The question is, what has been consuming our emotional being? So just reflect back on the last few weeks leading up to today. What has stirred you emotionally? Maybe it has been fears, or maybe it's noticing what's no longer working, even if it's familiar and known. What is being supportive to help you to evolve? Maybe you're hearing a calling from your heart and soul, but your mind is doing all the doubting and questioning. Can you get out of your head and into your heart? Let go of previous energies that allowed you to make the old choices. And if you're still making the old choices, how is that serving you today? Maybe it's time to release that, to declare that you deserve more. This is an emotional truth and realization that Sagittarius is trying to make clearer and trying to help us to understand. Sagittarius is the energy that wants us to move forward, giving us inspiration and creativity, and also to align us to our own personal power. Remember, there's always a variety of choices that we can take, and it doesn't necessarily have to be left or right. It can be to go up. So basically, stay open-minded and see things in a new light, because you may not be limited to two choices. There's an unlimited amount. Notice if you're being called into uncharted territory. What are you seeing differently, and how are you staying flexible? And can you be at peace knowing that you don't necessarily have to have the answer, solution, or direction yet? Let go of what's not lifting you up anymore, what maybe not be giving you more life or more energy, even if you're leaning into the unknown. So I've been really resonating with this. In fact, last Friday on 11/11, that portal was all about manifesting healing and also manifesting, desires, what it is that you're wanting. And when I was sitting with that last Friday, I really decided to let go of the vision I had for the future, to let go of the ideas that I had swirling, and to just kind of hand it over to spirit and say, I'm going to trust you know what is best. Bring me what is aligning to my soul contract. Align me to my next or truer purpose or higher purpose. So maybe that's what you feel called to do too. So we're going to take child's pose to start with. Now, when you come to child's pose, you're more than welcome to do this number where your spine's more rounded and you're kind of cool. Thighs typically are closer together when you're rounding over your lap that way. However, you can also spread the knees, extend the spine and arms, and take this format. So pick one of those positions in Child's. As you're here, I want you to be a little contemplative on whether or not you did resonate with that forecast or reading of this week's energy. Have you had emotional stirrings prompting you to do something different or in a new way? Have you noticed that the fire is leaving some aspect of your life and beginning to spark somewhere else? Remembering this energy coming to us as being encouraging and supportive of a new direction. With that in mind, just continue to give yourself a nice breathing treatment here. Improving the quality of your breath. Allowing the breath to bring you back home to yourself. Now on your next in-breath, go ahead and extend your arms out, lift the head and heart, walk your hands over to the right side, maybe keeping the hands shoulder distance apart and then bowing back down. Now the head may or may not want to come all the way to the floor at this point. Don't force it. But I do want you to enhance your breath. Controlling the breath and sending the breath more specifically into the left lung. Now let's go ahead and walk the hands over to the left side. Same idea, same approach, but noticing any differences. Some more air to the right lung. We're going to be doing a blended practice today, a mixture of active and passive poses. So it will be more of a yin flow. On your next inhale, lift your head and heart, travel the hands back to the mat, and you're going to rock up to hands and knees. Now, when you're in hands and knees, create a stable tabletop position, meaning you're pushing down through your shins, ankles, feet. The belly is hugging in, so there's no swaying or bow in the back. Now, on your next in-breath, we're going to lift the right foot up behind us and flex it. It's okay to give a little in your low back and belly here, because as we inhale, we're pumping the foot higher. Feel the contraction of the right side of the buttocks, and then exhale, loosen it up. And then inhale, pump, pause, exhale, lower. Inhale, lift, hold, exhale, release. Again, inhale, lift, contract, and now twist that foot over the back side of the body like you would do in downward scorpion, except we're on the floor. And then gently bring the hip back and sail the right foot towards the wall behind you. Draw down through your palms again. Line up your arms like columns, but then take the weight off your left hand and come to seabird. From seabird, lower the left hand, Contract the belly, take a cat stretch back, and draw the nose towards the knee. And then release. All right, tabletop. So belly in, strong foundation, neck in line with the spine. And then you can let that core work go as soon as you lift the left foot and flex it. We're going to pump and lift, feel the contraction in the left side of the buttocks, and then exhale, softly release. Inhale, pump, pause at the top, exhale, release. So strengthening the glute muscles is really important, just like core strength is really important. Next time you lift that foot, cross it over, creating the stinger of the scorpion. We're in the process of leaving Scorpio energy to come more to Sagittarius energy. So we're leaving a water sign and moving into a fire sign. Let's go ahead and unroll the hip, stretch the left leg back. Slowly sail the right arm forward. Seabird. Balance and breathe. Exhale, hand down, crunch in. Now, Sagittarius sign is the sign where the man's holding the bow. It's the archer. All right, let's lower the left knee. Walk the hands forward of the face. Curl the toes, launch into your first down dog. And from your first downward facing dog, press through the hands of the feet, shine up through your seat. Take some bold, deep breaths. Then we'll walk the feet forward. Slowly lifting the hands, bending the knees, draping the upper body, and closing the eyes. If your hands touch the floor, I always recommend flipping the hands open so that your elbows can loosely bend. If we're stacked on hands, we tend to lock the elbows. But the back of the hands, we can bring in that lucidity. Let your head be heavy. Emphasizing a longer exhalation. So if we hadn't had enough change, if we hadn't had enough loss, all of the planetary alignments are preparing us and suggesting that we let go of more. I'm saying that with laughter because if I don't say it with laughter, I may say it with tears. But loss doesn't have to be a bad thing. Loss can be a good thing. It can be preparing us for something brand new, something better, something that we deserve. All right, so on your next inhale, we're going to come all the way up. So push down through your feet, straighten out through your legs, sweep the arms to the sides, all the way up overhead. Standing in Urdhva Hastasana at the top. And then exhale, bringing hands to the heart. All right, we're going to flow here. Inhale, arms circle wide up. Exhale, pour down and over your lower body. Uttanasana. Keep the legs straight this time. Inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale, pour right back down. Now, we're not stepping back into a lunge, even though it's going to sound that way. So your hands are going to be on the floor. You are stepping the left foot back, but immediately dropping that heel and coming up to stand. So there's not as big of a space between the feet. Now square the hips. Take your arms up in front of your chest, curl the fingers in, and we're going into archer's pose. Pull back with your left arm. Take the thumb to the top of the head. Gaze at your right thumbnail and begin to rotate to the right. Twisting, turning. Maybe fixating your gaze at your thumb, unless that's too much for your neck. Now this is a balancing pose, so stay cautious. Stay planted in your feet. And then remembering the question, what are we aiming for? And exhale slowly unwind. Once you unwind, relax your arms. And we're going to lunge the knee. All right, not a deep, deep lunge, but still a lunge. Inhale the arms up, Virabhadrasana 1. Now we're going to add in the bandhas today. So pull in and up through the pelvic floor, root lock. In and up through the navel, belly lock. Draw the chin in towards your throat, chin lock. And then exhale, hands down. When the hands come down, we're stepping back, downward facing dog. From our downward facing dog, take a deep breath in, slow breath out. We're going to inhale, lift the heels, exhale, roll forward. Now you can pause in plank, or you can dip the hips, open the heart to up dog. And then exhale, roll back down dog. Now I'm demonstrating the more Americanized version of up dog, but you can always do the traditional form, which is landing the knees. Inhale, coming forward, plank or up dog, knees up or down, yogi's choice. And then exhale, roll back, downward facing dog. We're going to do one more set of 3. All right, from here, push back into your palms. And then walk and travel the feet forward to the top of the mat. Bending the knees when you arrive, letting the upper body hang free, and then giving it just a slight boost up through your sits bones. So I started my yoga practice in 2000, started teaching in 2003. And in 2006, the beginning 6 months of the year, I was having so much change. From the loss of a 16-year relationship to the loss of my grandmother. And there were other things happening as well. And I found myself naturally coming into child pose or pigeon pose on the mat and not wanting to get out. It felt so comforting. It felt so nurturing. It felt like what I needed to heal. And that was before I knew Yin Yoga existed. So you may find in these Yin poses that we steep in for longer, you might feel that yourself. All right, on the next in-breath, straighten your legs, lift halfway up. Exhale, plow back down. Inhale, come all the way to the top. Exhale, hands together and fold again. Uttanasana. In and halfway up. Out and lower back in. All right, remember, same sequence. So inhale, the right foot's gonna step back, but you don't have to go into that deep lunge. Plant the foot, and now come to stand. Square the hips. Archer's pose, arms in front, fingers curl. Pull back the bow with your right hand, and then bring the thumb to the crown. Set your drishti at your left thumb, and spin to your left. Take your time. Find your balance. Rotate to your edge. And remember what you are aiming for. Exhale and line. Release the arms. Lunge the knee. Relift the arms. We're going to practice our bandhas, what I like to call our infrastructure. Pull in and up through the pelvic floor, in and up through the navel. Now these two diaphragms at the pelvic floor and below the ribs can work in tandem together, and then draw the chin in towards the throat. That will shoot the energy higher in the body, out of the lower centers. That encouragement is what helps us to evolve. All right, hands down. Step back, down dog. Just a few inches between the big toes. And then we're going to roll forward today to plank or up dog. Knees up or down. And then exhale, downward facing. Practice that twice more. Now from downward facing dog, we're going to change our focus here. We're going to lift the left leg first, and then we're going to take downward scorpion next. Now notice it's different than the tabletop form. We can actually turn through the shoulders a little bit, looking up underneath the left arm. As we exhale, unroll from the twist, bring the left shin up behind the hands. And if you need to modify with deer, you can. If you need to modify on your back, you may. Now we're going to change up our direction. Remember, she said, don't always think you just have two choices. There could be a third one. So instead of staying up or going down like we typically do, we're going to walk over to the right, and then we're going to melt down here. You may need to stack on forearms. You may perhaps be able to lower all the way. Just notice these yin poses. take us inward. Connecting us more to our bodies. Grounding us into our bodies. Give us an opportunity to connect to our higher self. The piece of us connected to our heart and soul. And this is important whenever we're making decisions, because so often we've been trained to make those choices from our head, from what may seem logical, instead of our innate knowing and innate feelings. Maybe starting to get a little uncomfortable, but see if you can hold it a few more breaths. Inhale, slowly start to back away. Line up your hands in front of you, shoulder distance apart, curling the back toes, taking down, forward facing dog. Now let's inhale, lift the right leg. Take downward scorpion. Unroll. Again, you can modify this side too, but we're going to walk it over to the left and release down. Two more breaths. Slowly begin to lift, walk the hands in, and then place them in front of you, curl the back toes, take downward facing dog. And from our downward facing dog, we're going to run through our vinyasa ×3, which is rolling forward to plank or option to create up dog. Exhale, downward facing. And then twice more. From downward facing dog, you've completed the cycles of the vinyasa. You can come to the knees, and then we're going to bring the legs out in front of us. I'm going to grab a block really quick. I meant to tell you to have one of these. You don't need it quite yet, but close. Legs out in front. And then we're going to take the right leg over the left. So if you planted the foot, you want to heel toe it over or hold the outer edge and kind of cross it so it's in half shoelace. All right, we're going to start with the hands laced and a long spine. As we exhale, we fold. And if you want to stay active, keep and maintain a flat back, a flexed foot, and you could even attach your hands here. But if you want to stay true to yin, your hands can open and your spine round if you have a healthy back. So I mentioned in that reading that Sagittarius energy helps to promote movement forward. And that also stems from the first chakra, whether or not we're able and capable of moving forward. Perfect thing to consider as we're opening the legs. Let's slowly begin to sit up. Now, when we sit up, we're going to bring the right foot over and send the left leg out. The block is going to be set to the outside of the straight leg. Now, remember, it can turn different heights. We're going to lean onto it with the forearm or hold the head up. And I'll show you from a back angle as well. Now this free hand, the right hand, can just slide down in front of the belly, or you can take it up and just let it rest overhead. The shoulder may not welcome this activity. Even though mine feels good, I want to drape the arm down. It just gives a different effect. Some days I want different things. So explore the options and then pick one. Loosen your jaw. Relax your face. Interior of your mouth. Slowly build it up. Once you build it up, your right leg will straighten. Your left leg will be the half shoelace this time. Hands lace below, lift up through the crown. Exhale, hinge, staying here or here if you want to be active. And then getting more sloth-like, more relaxed. If you want the yin approach. This is opening up a major meridian in the back side of the body. Sometimes it's our attachments that keep us doing the same thing. Even if we know in our heart and soul it's time to move on. It could be an attachment towards just the knowledge you have regarding a subject matter, or it could be an attachment through a heartstring with people that you can relate to. Or it folds, or about letting go. The cycle that we're currently in is about letting go of the old and welcoming in the new. Inhale and slowly back away. As we back away, left foot to the inside, right leg slides on over. And when that right leg slides over, find your block. Remember, it can turn different heights. See where you can lean down upon it. The left arm can just be free, or you can lift it and roll it overhead. See what's more feasible today. So, up, take the block to the side. Stack your hands behind your back, bend the knees, and the feet are wide open so that we can do the windshield wipe twist from a sitting position. So you're just swishing to one side on the in breath and to the other on the out breath. And the next time you come through center, you're gonna station down on your back, and you can hold your shins or feet in happy baby pose. Now release the right foot and the left, and let the knees stack into a spinal twist. Inhale, knees through center, and exhale, roll them over to the right. And then if you want to use props for Shavasana, roll to your right and grab your items. I'm keeping it simple today with the bolster under the knees and a blanket over the body. Feel free to create what speaks to you. Try to tune out any external noise or distraction. Hopefully this yen flow has calmed the mind enough, grounded you in your body enough, connected you to your heart enough, so that you're contented to just rest in peace. Notice what has still. Notice where there is still movement. Even if it's just your breath. And bringing your attention to the breath, deepen its flow. Once and until it's become enlivened, I would suggest walking the feet on top of the bolster or hugging them in. Apanasana. Rolling to one side. Coming up for a seat. Sitting tall, eyes turned down. Collecting your hands at your heart. May we all remember we are a part of the whole, and the whole is a part of us. We walk away from this practice understanding that everything has a purpose, even the celestial skies. Let's continue to be in wonderment on how these energies will influence us collectively and personally. The light in me bows and honors to the light in you on this day.